Hey guys, how's it going? It's February 4th, 2018, and as I promised in my previous video, I'm going to start dealing with some real-world stuff going on, which I don't know if we say has me concerned because I'm actually protected in some ways. In some ways, I don't know. At least part of me is hoping for certain things to start changing, but we'll see. Let me just open it instead of me yapping about what's happening. As you can see on Market Watch, despite the fact that they're certainly one of the biggest decreases in the Dow or some of the global markets in a quite a long time took place over the course of not only Thursday and Friday. I forget how much it went down on Thursday. I believe it was about 300. I could be wrong on that one. I forget the exact number. 360, I think. I'm not 100% sure. So don't quote me on that one. I've seen those kind of drops in one day, so that's not a big deal or a big surprise to me. But then the following day, Friday, we dropped 665, which is, everybody's rounding it up to 666, which is really interesting because of the numbers and numerology, to an even worse loss. But that's not the end of it. As you can see, now I can go through the various other, all the other indexes. I can look at what's happened in Europe, and you're seeing similar drops. Asia's starting to rebound. Of course, they are on now, live as far as I can tell. I'm just trying to see if I got my times right on that one. I could be wrong on that one. No, I'm right. This is Monday morning. So they're starting. They had a sharp decline, taking some gains, but as you can see, the resistance level is still bringing it down in most cases. Although it is starting to level out at least, or take, basically people, once you buy low, sell high, they're going to take the things. But the real indicator of what's going on, I think, is the U.S. The U.S. is the big player here. I'm not 100% sure what exactly, other than the bond market and the U.S. Treasury is probably a big player into this, but I also think that there are basically people with a lot of money and a lot of power who are collaborating to put in a big distraction. And even on Market Watch, you got they're talking about Super Bowl, which is one of the biggest distractions. So a lot of things could be happening tonight with the Super Bowl. But if you look at the futures, you can see this is from with over the weekend. In the past 24 hours, steady decline. If I go, well, that's not gonna, yeah, there we go, right there. I'll go to can I go to a 3-day? No, I can't. We'll go with a 1-day. We'll keep it at that. The Dow futures is down 729 points at 2.979%. If that holds true, and the opening has a massive sell-off, you're looking at possibly, we're getting close to now a 2,000 point loss in the Dow, which is pretty huge considering there's a lot, and there's a lot of winners too on this. Amazon, I believe, is up. Google has been hit hard, but they're not, what the hell did they sell? Facebook, I think, got hit as well. So this is very interesting, but it plays into, I personally think it plays into something else. I don't know for sure. I don't have inside information, but I can kind of read between the lines and think, okay, well, what exactly else is happening right now? Now, it started with this, to me, this whole, let me just show you the TSX here in Canada where I am. One of the other global markets from Friday, which was down 1.61% as well. This is a global, definitely a global event. But with everything so traded globally, when one market goes, it reacts as a domino, and really Most markets, including China, which is probably the big economic player right now still, who has the most growth in all of the economies worldwide, they are suffering big time as well, and they have been for a while, basically because nobody is buying. There's not enough. There's not enough wages. There's not enough. It's not got nothing to do with minimum wage and all that. Minimum wage is a crock. It has nothing to do about minimum wage. It has to do with people at the top taking basically mergers, acquisitions, lot of leverage, a lot of debt, and basically a lot of corruption. So that's where it really comes into. Even Breitbart, which is more of a conservative feed that I tend to read, although I take it with a grain of salt because it is highly conservative. I tend to stomach it more because they get into more of the fake media crap that's been going on. But they also have their own spins. So, like I said, I keep this with a grain of salt. There's nothing right now on there that I see talking about the stock market. Drudge Report. They got the stupid football game. Suddenly you got the and I'm sure they're in here still, although it's just, it's yesterday's news. It's old news now. They're talking about I don't know what are they talking about? Jumanji, I don't know what some of this crap is. If I have to go through, I haven't heard too much more. This is the big one, and I think this is in response to what I can only find. Now, I have read. Not only have I read the memo, I have gone in. Anybody who doesn't know what the memo is, they simply need to do a Google search. They will get all your different, left spinning, right spinning, whatever, publications telling you Trump claims Nunes' memo totally vindicates him as FBI. Says talk is cheap, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. So, Nunes' memo, political hit job on the FBI. Well, yeah, okay, whatever. First of all, it's an FBI memo. But and there's a Democratic one that's supposed to come out, and they're saying this. They said it was going to be a threat to national security and all this other garbage. I'm not going to go into the whole. Oh, yes, of course. Are you going to actually give me the real text of the memo? There we go. So you guys can read this for yourself. I'm not going to go into this. There's enough YouTube videos out there that will tell you more about it. And basically everything was unclassified by President Donald Trump on Friday, as predicted in the United States. And basically it implicates the corruption. And if you read enough of between the lines, now, number one, if you go to CNN, if you go to various fake news agencies like CNN or any most of them are going to be liberal. Just like back in the day, if you were a conservative, you would have Fox News that would be spinning George W. Bush's crap. They weren't going against what George W. Bush was doing. I was totally against it, and George W. Bush, I think, was a horrible president. So was Obama. Trump's not perfect. I'm not saying he is. I don't like his stance on war. I don't like mainly his stance on war and the fact that he's taking he's been taking credit for this market. He's been taking credit for what's going on. The stock market has been really doing well. Yes, there's not prosperity. I wouldn't call that. I mean, there's been some wage increases. There's been some bonuses given, and there's been some jobs coming back. But let's get real here. A lot of the jobs that were gone are never coming back. There's a lot of automation to compete with. There's all kinds of factors that's going into what's really happening in the world. And candidate Trump, just like candidate Obama, who I also supported at one time, candidate Trump called this a fake economy, a fake, basically, that this was fake, that this was just like fake news, which he's right about. He's actually right, very right about the fake news part. But he took credit. He is now taking credit for this so-called fake economy, that this is somehow turned real. This is crap. This is all sediment of consumers, not so much consumers, but this is sediment of pump and dump and cheap dough. And what's happening is the various rates is starting to go up. You got the US 10-year now up to 2.842. This has been pushing and pushing higher. And the yield curve, which is the difference between the high and low, is very, very minuscule and flattening. When you have a flattening yield curve, it basically doesn't give you much more for taking out a 10-year than it is for whatever the heck it is, a 1 to 5 year. I don't know which one it is. But you should see a big difference between the yield curve. You should see it. And when it's flattening, it basically goes up on a curve like that, but not like this. Sorry. But cryptocurrencies, I don't know what. I've been with Bitcoin. I got out of Bitcoin a long time ago. It's currently, there's a little bit of a pullback earlier today, but or very early, like very recently. But you can see the stretch right now for the cryptos. It's starting to go up again, which means nothing. It absolutely, to me, means nothing, because when you look at the 3-month, let's go to the 6-month. Yeah, I thought we were close to, I'm just trying to think where, well, yeah, 20,000. Okay, that's better. I don't know what I was looking at. Let me go back to the 3-month again. You can see this parabolic rise up towards 20K, and right now it's lost close to 50% of the value. I've seen these drops before in the cryptos. It is, there's a lot of people in it. There's a lot of issues with Bitcoin, actually, and there's a lot of regulations. The regulations is what scared me out of Bitcoin. So I cashed in and got, basically, my profits a long time ago from that. So, and I mean, it wasn't much, but I mean, the thing is, you look into something like that. I got out a few years ago. Or I forget what the heck it was. Maybe 2 years ago. But I suppose. I mean, I could. It's about. I would say it's riskier than the stock market right now. But I'm no expert on what's going on. It's just when you see something like this and you don't know what's going to happen. I know there's proponents of saying, yep, this is the way to freedom and all this, but as long as there's governments in charge to impose whatever their will, they don't want competing currencies, they're going to come after you for it. So anyways, I'm going to keep this short and sweet, because I just wanted to say that. Just keep your eye open on what's happening in the financial markets on Monday. I certainly am. Because there's actually a lot of very newsworthy things that are happening right now. It's very possible that the Dow could recover, and so far we're seeing Asia looking as though at least the Shanghai, which of course is backed a little bit more by a more solid economy. It can tend to buffer. Let me go. That's a 3-month. The Shanghai took a hit Friday, but then again, that has to do with basically U.S. being able to purchase Chinese goods. So the Shanghai is going to take a hit because all of them are interconnected. But since then, we're starting to see a rise out of it. That doesn't mean anything if the U.S. market doesn't recover. And depending upon where this is going, I've heard everything from the health care industry is what's behind us. I believe this has to do with the bonds, and I also believe this may have to do with a smokescreen for the pending issues that both the FBI and the Clinton's Department of Justice, you name it, if you look into the memo, this is, you basically should read this. This will tell you quite a bit of everything in the corruption. Just look for the memo. This is going to give you, and they say it's a GOP memo and blah blah blah. This is based. It's hearsay. It's certainly hearsay, but it's also a memo that basically tells you what is in the going on in the investigation, and how the FBI has basically, both leaders in the FBI and the Obama White House has impeached themselves. Sorry, not impeached themselves. Has basically perjured themselves in front of sworn testimony, and it has basically vindicated Donald Trump from this whole Russia conspiracy that has been surrounding the fake news media for well over a year. Is it the end of it? I doubt it. They'll find something else. I know they're after his, or they've been after his son. They may go after that again because of some meeting with Russia or whatever. But I don't take too much. I don't take too much worry about any collusion between Russia, because all you have to do is look at RT, and RT is mainly left-leaning as opposed to right-leaning. So, I mean, RT is and you look at Russia, and they're, and you know, used to be part of, even though they're not now, they're a lot more consumer, commercially driven, but they're the leftovers from a failed communist state. And the United States is becoming more and more, well, I'd even say most of the Western world, including myself here in Canada, is becoming more and more communist and totalitarian, and it's getting a mess. So we'll see what happens. I've got to just protect yourself, watch your investments very carefully. If you're heavily invested in the stock market, make sure you're into the right ones. Diversify yourself as much as possible. I haven't even gotten into the housing market yet. I wouldn't want to be holding a house right now, honestly. It's just, I know people I have friends who own homes. Especially if you have a mortgage or you have any kind of long-term loans. Fortunately for me, the only loan I have is interest-free. So, I mean, I could pay it off all tomorrow if I had to. But I still concern myself with, future money, and things are going to start costing a lot more, especially with inflation and everything else with what's going on. I don't think that has any more to do. Gold hasn't done too much as well. Oil prices, gold's continued to fall as well. So, and oil prices as well. But I think in the long term, with the U.S. dollar continuing to fall, you're going to see gold and oil start going up. But they have to get through this whole shock as to what everything else is going on right now. There's a lot of fear of getting into anything, so they're basically taking their money out of everything at the moment, until this settles, and hopefully get some answers. But it'll be interesting to see what happens. So, no expert in this field, but I watch very carefully, and it's very important not to get too distracted. So if you're going to watch a game tonight, or you're watching whatever, enjoy it. I'm not even touching that with a 10-foot pole, but do enjoy. If you're going to do so, I'm going to be doing some other things. So anyways, thanks for watching, guys. You have yourself a good one, and we'll talk to you later.